Hey everybody, today I'm going to install the SOTA Products suspension kit, the position sensitive shock kit. I'm going to go with a pretty aggressive setup here with the grays being the highest damping rate at the top, and then pretty much it looks like a very common center setting for the purple, and then red for the bottom, so at least this for the front. Anyway, I'm installing this in my TEKNO. I've never ran it yet, so let's get this thing all tore apart, and then we'll get it all put together. Gotta be sure I keep all the parts separate here. Ooh, that's tight. I like to loosen that end cap to release some pressure off the O-rings before you push out the old piston. Still got some oil in there. Got the VRP kit in there right now. Okay. Again, these are brand new, so I don't have any dirt or anything in them. Never ran them once. Okay. Next we'll put the grub screw in the piston that holds the rebound valve. Matt said you get one of these little deals and then cut off the end of the Allen wrench and then put it in here, and man, it works great. So I got this on Amazon for like 10 bucks. It's just a hobby drill, micro hobby drill or whatever. This one. Anyway, so we'll take the 4mm grub screw and we'll start it in this corner over here. Be sure you're gooting straight, and that works great. And then stop when it's about flush with the bottom. You don't want it sticking out the bottom, he says. There, it's starting to stick out. Back it out a little bit. Okay. Kind of a pain to get out, but it works. There we go. And then last one. And this is the top, by the way. The recessed side is on the bottom. It's going to be on the bottom. It's about flush almost. You can slide something sharp over it to see if it's sticking up. Nope. Okay. So that's good. Wiggle that off of there. Sometimes it sticks. There we go. Okay. Meow, he says. This is for the front, by the way. So the front, I'm going to use the clear valve. Stick that on. And then put on the top washer. And then the bottom washer. Oops. Actually, let's do this. Put it on the shaft. I think, yeah, this side went down. Yeah. You can see that. That side goes down. And it should sit flat, but it doesn't look like it does for some reason. Maybe I got some Loctite on there still. Huh. Or maybe it's just really tight tolerance. I don't know. But it doesn't seem to fit on the shaft very well. That's interesting. Try another one. That fits good. So this one might just need a wee bit of filing on the hole. So you might have to do that on your kit. No biggie. Okay, now this side up. Looks good. And then the OEM TEKNO nut. We'll start on there. And you won't need Loctite on this because these are lock nuts, so you should be good there. And let me go find my driver for this. I guess that's a 5mm, so that's easy. Alright, snug. Okay. Let's look at that valve. It's not quite laid down all the way. I guess that's okay. pretty close. Should be fine. Okay. Alright, there's the first one assembled on the TEKNO shock shaft. Okay, I'll go get something to show you real quick. So in my previous life, I was a motorcycle mechanic and road racer, and I was also a certified Öhlins technician. If you don't know Öhlins, or if you do, you know they're used in MotoGP, NASCAR, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, this is the best cleaner in the world for high performance shocks, and it works just as well for obviously C stuff. You can spray it on anything and it will not warp or shrink or expand. Any rubbers or vinyls or any type of materials, and it cleans awesome, and it's super fast evaporating. I use it on everything. So anyway, let's see. Essex Parts Services is where you order it from, and I'm telling you, it is amazing stuff. It's not very cheap, but then again, what good product is dirt cheap, right? Okay, so anyway, this is great for cleaning off stuff. Also from my Öhlins days, I got some materials here that we used on superbike shocks. I think it's called Slick Honey. And then also the Öhlins spec red grease is what I use. I'll confirm all that, but I think this is the Slick Honey. It's pretty awesome stuff. Anyway, I like to put some on the tip here, just on the tip, before we put it back into the body, so it doesn't risk scraping the O-rings. I think he said to put this in first. Okay, that's in. And I also like to put some Slick Honey. By the way, this won't interfere with the fluids at all. In the shock body as well. Just a little bit, make it nice and slippery. It's a very light coating of it. I don't think this will hurt anything, but I mean, it works in, superbike shocks. I know this is a much smaller scale, but it should work here nicely. Anyway, let's put this in. Yeah, nice and smooth. Man, that is a perfect fit. Dude's got some amazing tolerances. Wow. There we are. That is cool as hell. Okay, let's tighten this back up. Get that hand tight for now. Okay, I'm not going to fill them with oil just yet. I'm waiting on my oil to show up. So, okay, let's get this put back together. Okay, looks good. I am waiting on the shorter shock springs to arrive too, so I'm not going to put those on. Oh, another good tool to have, guys, is Nip-X pliers. You can use them on anything. They're flat, but they have an amazing amount of pressure when you tighten them down, and they won't mar up any surfaces. They work on everything. They're pretty awesome. You might want to look into those. Let's put the lid on, and I'm using the emulsion option on these. Probably need to pull out the factory O-ring and use the SOTA supplied O-ring. Looks like that's just square. Oh no, it's got some ribs right there. That probably goes on the cap side. I'll double check that. Okay. And then I'll fill these with oil later. These two are going to be for the rear. And if anybody wants to know, let's see how thick those are. The clear valve is about 0.28 millimeter. The brown one is 0.22, 0.21. So the brown one's going to give you a little faster rebound. Obviously, the thinner it is, the easier it's going to bend from the oil flowing through the holes. So I'm just going to very lightly hit it with this little file. See if that did it. No, didn't quite do it. Okay, probably didn't get enough pressure on it. So let's use these. Obviously, you don't want to do too much pressure on this. See if that worked. Almost. There, that did it. So just had a little bit of a burr or something in the hole, and it didn't allow it to go on. Let's be sure that's clean before we put it back on. There might be some shavings on it. Spray it with the speed salt again. I don't see anything on there. Okay, fits beautifully now. Put the valve on, line it up. Shoulder washer, and on the shaft, and the nut, and good and tight. All right, here's the other front. That one spins on the shaft easier than the other one did. I guess that doesn't really matter, I don't think. Okay, that valve looks perfect. Laying down nice and flat. Okay. Put a little bit of my Olin's red grease. Oops, my slick honey. Okay. Meow. Get a fresh Q-tip. Put a tiny bit of slick honey on there. Alright, that's it for now. I'll do the oil later when that comes in, and we'll talk to you later. I was going to mention the pills. Yeah, the pills to control the damping. They are difficult to get in and out, or no, to get out really. But it seems like if you take an edge of a razor blade and gently pull up, you can see you can get it to move pretty easy. It's got some space under there. Anyway, that seems to help pretty good to get them out of there. Otherwise, you don't want to risk, digging in with something like a pick. But this seems to just catch the edge with a sharp edge of a razor blade, and then it gets it started. There you go. See? Works pretty good. Anyway, that's all. Okay. Now we're going to be putting the oil in. So I think I got it figured out. It took me a few trial and errors to get it to where there's not a shitload of bubbles in it. But anyway, you have the piston and shaft in there. Figure out where your flat side is. I usually face it towards me. And put the piston almost to the top of the oil level. You feel the shot case, cylinder, whatever, to about 10 millimeters from the top. And then go ahead and start putting the sleeve in. Keep the shaft where it's at. Don't let it drop down. And kind of got to wiggle it to get it to go in right. There we go. Anyway, just slowly feed it down. Maybe go up and down a little bit with it. It's going to leak a little bit of fluid. Just do it really slow. Just gently tapping it down. Keep the shaft where it's at too. Of course, a little bit's going to leak out the top. That's no big deal. Oh yeah, big mess. Okay, so now hold that, keep your thumb on that flat edge so the sleeve doesn't pop up when you extend the shock. Okay, now go up and down with it, and there's no bubbles at all. Whoa, got lucky on that one. So that worked pretty good. Okay, I'll do one more and we'll video that one as well from a different angle. So this is what I did earlier, but a different view. So we'll fill up the shock body about 10 millimeters from the top. Oops, big mess. Go up and down a couple times, be sure we got no bubbles. There we go. Okay. There you can see about where we're at. About 8 to 10 millimeters from the top, maybe. That might be a little too much. I'm going to dump just a tiny bit out. Too much out. I feel like 10 millimeters is just about right from the top. Okay, no bubbles. Okay, we're going to find the D spot. Not to be confused with the other spot. Okay, the flat side's towards me. We're just under the surface of the oil there. Hold the shaft there. And then put in the sleeve very slowly. Okay, going real slow. See, it's starting to come out the side there. That's all right, just keep going real slow. Go up and down a little bit. See where the shaft is. It's going to make a mess no matter what, I feel like. Okay, now we're going to pull it down a little bit and then keep your finger on top of the sleeve so it doesn't want to push back up out of there. Okay, you make a mess on the shock body for sure. Now you actuate it fully up and down and there's no bubbles at all. Yeah, but yeah, you're going to make a mess. I don't know if there's any way around that, guys. Okay, there's the last one.